from America and Alain Danilo have followed this tendency. The words Napuuthanaar, Napuuthanaar, Kuni, Nilagiri, Manimergale, Kanyakumari, Vettivel Cholian, etc. have been translated by them as Sadakarni, Serpent World, Hunchback, Blue Mountains, Precious Girdle, Virgin's Ocean, Victorious Verchalian. The writer is of the view that there is no need for such translation and that a transliteration of the same should be sufficient in all these cases. Revision of the key to transliteration devised by Tamil lexicon. I'll spell out a few and go because there are diacritical explanations here. There's no need time for that. It would seem instances where even Homers have nodded. Let me now cite a few instances where even Homers have nodded. Even Homer nods is an age-old saying. Hence, no one needs to be overly perturbed even if a translator has gone slightly wrong in his or her translation. However, it is not right for such rare instances of wrong translations to go unnoticed simply because the translator happens to enjoy a particular status. When it comes to accuracy, there is no need for us to be politically correct. It is to ensure that translations are done as perfectly as possible, that the writer desires the setting up of a directorate of literary translations and a board or committee of standards. I must make it plain, I am not using this platform to sling mud at anyone, no. Lest I should be mistakenly assumed to be making sweeping remarks about the quality of translation of all scholarly translators, let me at the very outset say that the books of translations I am commenting on are reasonably good, though they are not totally faultless. Translation of the Silappatikaram by Professor R. Parthasarathy. Professor R. Parthasarathy of California University has done yeoman service to the Tamils of the world by translating Silappatikaram English under the title The Tale of an Angler, an Epic of South India. The Silappatikaram of Ilango Adigal. It gives a wealth of information on Tamil literature, language and prosody. This translation was published by the Columbia University Press in the year 1993. A.K. Ramanujan of the University of Chicago has acclaimed it as a fine, luminous translation of Indian classic. It is in fact so. However, I have found certain errors therein which appear to pollute his masterly work. Let me make my point by quoting a passage from page 2 of his book. Madhavi, a courtesan, is honored by the Solar King in recognition of her talent as a dancer. He presents her with a garland and 1,008 pieces of gold. Madhavi puts the garland up for sale through her maid Vasandamalai, who announces that her mistress will welcome the buyer as her husband. Mark the word Vasandamalai. It was not Vasandamalai. To say that Madhavi offers the garland for sale through Vasandamalai is not correct. Madhavi puts the garland for sale through Kuni, not Vasandamalai. A generous reader may be inclined to think that this could be a printing mistake, but then that doubt or excuse vanishes when you read a paragraph at page 308 of that book where the professor repeats the mistake by saying, custom requires that Madhavi now take a lover. She dispatches her maid, the hunchback Vasandamalai, to the city square with the garland. These are mistakes which the professor would have avoided. No one appears to have pointed out these slips to him so far. It should be the business of the Committee of Standards to go through each and every English translation of classic Tamil text and to ensure that mistakes of the kind cited above are detected and notified to the translator so that he could correct them in subsequent editions of the book. Translations of A.K. Ramanujan. A.K. Ramanujan has done immeasurable service to the Tamil world by translating classic literary poems such as Purnanuru, Kurundagai, Nattunai and Aingurnuru under the title Poems of Love and War, 1985. In addition, he also has translated certain poems of Nammalvar under the title Hymns for the Drowning, Poems of Nammalvar in 1981. Hymns for the Drowning is a fine piece of translation which is very poetic and carries genuine flavor of devotion. He has been a model for translator for many present-day translators. However, he himself appears to have erred in translating a phrase in Punnanur poem. In that poem, there occurs a line, Pari Pari Endru Ethi Pugalvar Chenna Pulavar. A.K. Ramanujan has translated the phrase Chenna Pulavar as poets with their good red tongues.
It's totally wrong.
I'll continue. I am unable to agree with the translation of the expression Chenna Pulavar. In that context, those Tamil words should be interpreted to mean poet who never lie. In this connection, I wish to refer the learned audience here and co-speakers here to line 30 of Puram Seri Irutha Kadai of Madurai Kandam in Silapadikaram. The interior landscape, love poems from a classical Tamil anthology. It's general book of translation by the same author. This was first published by him in the year 1975 and contains English translation of selected poems from Kurundogai. At page 31 of the book, there appears the translation of Kurundogai verse number 28, which runs that, shall I charge like a bull against the sleepy town, or try beating it with sticks, or cry wolf, till it's filled with cries of ahs and ohs. It knows nothing and sleeps through all my agony, my sleeplessness, and the swirls of this swaying south wind. Oh, what shall I do to this dump of a town? Now let me give the Tamil original. Muttuven kol, taakuven kol, oren janum oru petri melittu. Ollena kuven kol, alameral asebali aleppayan, uyavu no yariyadu tunchu murke. The translator has misinterpreted the verse and given a misleading translation. It would seem that the mistake in the above translation drew the attention of Dr. Abhay Nadarajan, one time Vice Chancellor of the Tamil University at Tanjore. However, he himself wished to be politically correct and refrained from publicizing the fact that A.K. Ramanujan had gone wrong. He has, however, expressed his dissatisfaction in a subtle way in his foreword to P. Napuuthanaar's book of translation captioned Tamil Verse in Translation and published by the International Institute of Tamil Studies in the year 1987. A perusal of the interior landscape will reveal that A.K. Ramanujan has misinterpreted some of the poems also contained in it. It is my conviction that if scholars of the caliber of Abhay Nadarajan had told A.K. Ramanujan then and there that they should take more care, they would have been able to do better translations in later years. Because of the unwholesome attitude of political correctness, Tamil scholars from India as well as from outside have refrained from commenting on the shortcomings in such translations. The committee of standards that I am proposing will enable those translators to make a revisit to their translations. Do I have some more time or where am I?